This is a Miami Sports Music Podcast Network production. This is the #1 Miami fan morning show. Clock Blockers, let's go.
I know the whole city riding. A little early, it's a bit surprising. Business moves, now we enterprising. Switch it up, now we improvising. Go to get in the winter collar. Whole squad been trained to go. Fence for life, we throw the folk. Singing this is the welcome, bro.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen?
Time to grind, time to shine.
How y'all doing today? It is your boy, Stephen D. This is the #1 Miami fan morning show. It is Clock Blockers right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. I am your host, Stephen D. Stephen Daniels, right here. Good morning to y'all. Want to say good morning to my family with a PH, that is, and my Finlaws all around the world. Super excited that y'all are hanging out with me. It is Thursday, February the 16th, 2023. Super excited that y'all are hanging out with me this morning. You guys can follow me at Miami Sports Music and on Twitter at MIA Sports Music. You can also follow myself. I said me earlier. Myself at Stephen D SKPL. Spread kindness, positivity, and love. SKPL. So make sure you guys follow me on Twitter. Big Twitter guy. Also, hey, look, hit the like button. If you haven't already hit the like button, hit it, tap it. Doesn't cost anything. Hit the like button on your way through the door this morning while you're watching. Goes such a long way into helping the channel grow, and it's free. It doesn't cost anything. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, subscribe. Big deal. Make sure y'all do that. Subscribe already. If you are not subscribed, in the link below, in the description below on YouTube, you will see the link to sign up to become a member today. It'll say membership. So make sure y'all do that. I'll actually put it in the chat right now. I'd love to get a couple new members on the show today. Seriously, big deal. Okay. What else we got up on here this morning? Hey, look, if you want to help the channel grow, you can help the channel grow by donating. Lots of different ways you can do that. Okay. You can use the YouTube live super chat, which is the $ below the bottom of the chat. Or you can also use super thanks. If you're rewatching this and you're not watching us live right now, you can always use the YouTube super thanks, which is the heart sign with the $ in the middle below right here on YouTube. You can also use Cash App and PayPal. They take obviously less fees, and it's such a good way to help the channel grow. Just so you know, we do this every single weekday, Monday through Friday. There are some days here and there that we miss, obviously, but you know, it's just me. It's a one-man wrecking crew. So when you guys donate, just know it helps to keep this channel afloat, and it helps to keep this show moving forward. And that's what we want to do. So any and all donations help. You guys can also use Cash App and PayPal. You see the QR codes right on your screen. You see them right here. Cash App and PayPal, MSM Podcast Network. Want to give a big shout out to sponsors of the show, ZSM Sports. ZSM Sports, the #1 place to get your cards, jerseys, balls, and hard to find items. Make sure you follow them today. Okay. Also, make sure you follow Hangry Owls. Good food, good mood. They are located in Pembroke Pines. If you need something to eat in South Florida, Pembroke Pines area, Hangry Owls is the place to go. Vasasaur Brewing Company, absolutely amazing. Born and raised the official beer of Clock Blockers. I know football season's over, but that doesn't mean the party doesn't stop. If you're in the Wynwood, Miami area, go to Vasasaur Brewing Company today. Hang out. They got really cool beer specials on tap, and it's just a great atmosphere there. We love Vasasaur Brewing Company. You need a ticket to anything all across the country at greatplacetosit.com. Greatplacetosit.com. If you look in the description below, you will see a phone number there. You can give them a call at 954-989-7979 and use the code word DWA to get 5% off on your tickets. This is anywhere in the world, any event, concert, baseball game, football game, it doesn't matter. A greatplacetosit.com, because the price you see is the price you get. But if you give them a call, you get an additional 5% off on your tickets. Okay, big deal. And last but not least, Tail Greeter. Download the app today on your current Apple or Android device today. Tail Greeter is the best place to get your tailgate going on. If you're going to a NASCAR event, or if you were at Waste Management this past weekend, golf, whatever it is, make sure you guys go to Tail Greeter and download the app today. They are the #1 source for the best tailgate parties all around. And I need to say something nice about Apple. 2 more days left of saying something nice about Apple, huh? Let's go. Something nice about Apple. I like their earbuds. Their earbuds are comfortable. Okay. My wife has a couple pair. I've used them before. Their earbuds are comfortable. That's what I'll say. All right. One more. I only got to say one more nice thing about Apple tomorrow. Team Android for life. Real quick, and tail greeter, just want to remind you all, especially Dolphins fans all around the world, planning on going to games next year. Keep these 3 in mind because Miami Sports Music and Tail Greeter are partnering up to bring you an awesome Miami Dolphin fan experience, at all 3 of these places. In Washington, we are going to do the FedEx Takeover. Okay, the FedEx Takeover, Miami Sports Music in DC. It's going to be awesome. In Philadelphia, we're going to do the Philly Finvasion, and in Baltimore, we're going to be doing the Baltimore Beatdown, which we did this past year, which was good, which was really, really good. Did I say that last week? You can. All right. How about this? You can get earbuds in white. All right. You can get them in just plain white headphones. Okay. There we go. Something nice about Apple. I like those white headphones. Okay. How about that? How about that? Okay. There's something new. It's hard to say something, one nice thing every day. Imagine if I had to like talk for like 5 minutes saying something. So real quick, man, it's the off season. And yesterday, we had a great show, Wildin' Out Wednesday. If you missed it, go back and watch the replay. It was a lot of fun. But let me tell you something. It was, I got to thinking this morning as I woke up this morning and get my kids ready for school and up with the wife. And I said, man, you know, what I usually do is I try to go through Twitter the night before that night or that morning and I'll like stuff and okay, all right, I could talk about this or I could talk about that. It is such a slow moving sports week. Just in general, it's so slow moving. And so for like an hour this morning, I'm like, what am I going to talk about today? Well, this is a show that's made for the fans by the fans. So today is your show. I'm calling it hashtag Ask Stephen D. Okay. It's a hashtag Ask Stephen D morning show this morning. You guys can ask me any question and I will answer it live on Clock Blockers here. And I really don't care what it's about. You can ask me anything. You can ask me about hockey, baseball, football, NASCAR, basketball, football, life questions, movie questions, music questions, whatever it is, you will get my thoughts on it. It is a hashtag Ask Stephen D kind of day. All right. So that's what we're going to do this morning because I'll be perfectly honest with you. It is a slow moving sports day. There's, you know, we could sit here and beat with a dead horse. And maybe that's a bad analogy, but you know, this quarterback situation in Miami and I'm sure we can, and I'm sure people want to know certain things. Level 2 noob, I am not answering that. Where do babies come from? You're not getting that one from me. From storks. How about that? There we go. They come from storks. They fly down and you know, they drop off the babies at the front porch. Okay. There you go, noob. If you need more information, Google it. And I'm sure you will get maybe a different answer, but that's the answer you're getting from me, noob. But again, back to, you know, just the conversation, you know, running this show is tough to do on a day in, day out basis. And I was trying to find content and I really thought about, you know, hey man, maybe I don't do a show this morning, but I didn't want to leave you all hanging because there's really not a lot to talk about. I'm a big NASCAR fan. Last night I watched qualifying for NASCAR. My boy Bubba qualified 11th, but you know, it's Daytona week. Daytona 500s this coming up Sunday. So tonight at 7:00, they're not Gatorade. They're called the Blue Green Vacation, who I used to work for, 125. So there's 2 races tonight to figure out the rest of the pecking order that I'm about to say Jimmy Johnson, that Alex Bowman, Number 48 got the pole last night. He just looked so much faster than everybody else. But I'm a big NASCAR fan, so I was watching that last night. Manza Chill said you would like NASCAR. I grew up in North Carolina, Manza. You know, it was Tar Heel basketball and NASCAR. Okay, Tar Heel basketball and NASCAR were like the two big things, and Friday night football, high school football. That was it. Those were your three big things right there. So yeah, come on now. We all like NASCAR down in North Carolina. It doesn't matter what color you all, what race, religion, creed. You loved you some racing. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I used to go to dirt tracks when I was younger too. So I've always been a big NASCAR fan. I got away from it a little bit. Whatchamacallit? I got away from it a little bit after Dale Jr. left, but about 2 or 3 years ago, I got back into it really big. And last year I was really into it every Sunday, and now I'm back into it again every Sunday this year. So I like it. It's good stuff. Alrighty. Like I said, if you have a question, use the hashtag #AskStephenD. Put it in the chat. I will answer your questions. Hashtag, do you begin from the bottom and work your way down, or do you start from the top and work your way down? What are you talking about? Are you talking about me asking questions, or are you talking about something else, Jose? Don't go there, Jose. You guys are something else. G asked. Hashtag #AskStephenD. Would you consider a trade to a Waddle, X, and Jones for Lamar? Straight trade 4-for-1. So let me just first start off by saying that trade will never happen. Okay. I've been looking at social media, you know, crazy trades, like even YouTubers, not even in Baltimore here. They're like insane of what could we possibly get for Lamar? They want draft capital, the Ravens. So I don't see a world where there will be a 4-for-1 deal for just players. Another thing is too, I don't think Tua is going to be a part of any deal to go out and get a quarterback. Because if you look at the Aaron Rodgers situation in Green Bay, they got Jordan Love. If Baltimore somehow doesn't tender him as a designated franchise tag, they got Tyler Huntley. And I think that they would rather go with Huntley over Tua. And I'm not saying that you should. Tua is definitely the better quarterback. But what I'm saying is he'll be the bridge gap between whoever they decide to bring in the future. And they want draft capital. They want to build up that capital. So I don't see any scenario where there's a 4-for-1 deal for Lamar. They want draft picks. So what I consider a trade, though, was the question. If it was on the table, no, not for Lamar. And Waddle, like Tua, like Waddle, X, and Jones, X maybe, Tua maybe, but I'm not getting rid of Waddle, and I'm not getting and any 4-for-1 you'd have to include Christian Wilkins in there. Christian Wilkins is going to be a part of any trade, 100%. So there's your answer. I hope I answered it well. Trucker Sean says y'all got pipe drinks. Let's see here. Byron Jones to the Vikings for Cook. I know that's not necessarily a trade. Look, I think there's a world and there's a scenario now that Vic Fangio here where Byron Jones is going to stay in Miami. You know, X has been on record with the Sun Sentinel in the last couple of days saying he is super excited about playing for Vic Fangio. And so my hope, and this is my hope, you know, there'll be a renegotiation of X's contract. I know a lot of you think that's crazy. Don't put that out of the world. I think there's a world where that happens. But you know, Byron Jones, you know, if Vic Fangio didn't come here, I think that Byron Jones was out the door. But Byron Jones, I mean, what type of a team has to want to take on his contract. And I just don't see a world. And Delvin Cook, they're not trading a running back. Running backs, again, you all saw what I've been saying for the last few days. the last 10 Super Bowl winners don't have that heavy pound for pound running back. They have a veteran minimum. In the last 10 or 11 Super Bowls, there have been 3, maybe 4 running backs that got paid over $1 million. And only one of them got paid over 2, and only one of them got paid over 3. All of them were like 600, 400, 600, 300. One was 480 something, like 1,000. Veteran minimums. So you just don't need that bell cow running back anymore in today's football. I don't think I'm not saying it's not important, but to me, what's more important is the offensive line. And you can get Dalvin Cook all you want, but if the offensive line is crap, it's not going to mean much. That's my opinion of it. Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. It is #AskStephen_D. Get in the chat right now. Ask me any question, and I will answer it for you. Try to keep it positive. We'll try to keep it G. No crazy questions, but ask any question. And if I feel comfortable enough to answer it, I will. 100%. Steven, they're going to have to pay Jefferson soon. They have to come up with that money somehow. Justin Jefferson obviously is somewhere where the Vikings are obviously going to have to take that on, but look, the Vikings, let's see. I'm interested to see what they do this offseason, but I don't think, Dalvin Cook's not going anywhere right now. They're trying to make a Super Bowl run. They are. I don't think they're there, but they're trying. That's just my personal opinion about the Vikings. Steven, #AskStephenD. Would you take Kareem Hunt? Yeah, 100% I would. I don't think Kareem Hunt would demand that much as far as contract is can go because running backs just don't get paid the way they should or for what the productivity. Like, unless your name's Derrick Henry or Dalvin Cook or Saquon Barkley or Christian McCaffrey, am I forgetting anybody else? You're just not going to. Josh Jacobs might get a little bit of a contract, but even he said, I'm not going to get that big contract that I'm looking for. Saquon, I think, said it too. Josh and Saquon were both on record this season saying, yeah, I'm probably not going to get paid what I should be getting paid. Like it'll be what it is. They get running backs and how they're valued in the NFL. So would I go get Kareem Hunt if he's available for the right deal? Maybe. But I don't know. It has to be the right deal. And honestly, if the Dolphins go out and deal with the offensive line, then I honestly think we're good with re-signing Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert. I think that they make such a good combo with the right offensive line. Personal opinion. G says, #AskStephenD, do you eat chitterlings? No, I do not. Not in any way, shape, or form. #AskStephenD, do you think the Finns can get Peter Griffin from the Pats to play on the O-line? Meg. They can't do it, Meg. They can't do it, Meg. Oh my God, you guys are getting crazy in the comment section. Help me out. Help me help you. I'm trying to give you all content this morning. Level 2 noob asks, is the Millennium Falcon a Carillion YT 1300 light freighter, or is it a 1200 series? All right, you, sir, I'm not sure. I like Star Wars. I've watched almost everything from Star Wars, but I'm not like a diehard Star Wars guy. I don't hate Star Trek, so I like both. Diehard Star Wars fans hate Star Trek. Just saying. I like both. What else you got? Come on, guys. Bring on the questions. Bring on the questions. Put them in the chat right now. #AskStephenD. I want to hear from you. Whatever y'all got. Try not to make them Star Wars questions, though. Yeah, don't do that. Like both. #cancel Steven. Yeah, that would get me canceled in a lot of places. You're not wrong. #AskStephenD. Thoughts on Sean Desai coming in, since it looks like Denver's taking a different approach with Rex and Vance getting interviews. Well, I was very surprised to see that Rex Ryan getting the look at a potential defensive coordinator position in Denver. Nothing would make me happier because he's the worst. And it'll be very, very interesting to see how that works. Vance Joseph, that's interesting. He's the former head coach in Denver. I would be surprised if he takes that job. Sean Desai has not gotten an interview yet. That doesn't mean he won't. But they are definitely looking like they're going in a direction of, for Sean Payton wants somebody with experience. And by the way, Sean Payton is a big enough name that can bring Rex Ryan out of retirement, can bring somebody like Vance Joseph to come back to Denver, even though he was a head coach there, because, hey, look, man, I'm here now. This is you're good. Don't worry about nobody. You report to me. Because I don't know how Vance Joseph's relationship with John Elway was or anything. So as far as Sean Desai coming to Miami, I would love to see it. I want to see what Fangio's coaching staff looks like. Fangio's press conference is Monday at 11. We will have it live right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network on Clock Blockers. We will be live for that press conference on Monday. So actually, you know what? Monday, the kids are off. I won't be on Monday. Never mind. I won't be live on Monday, but we'll have the reaction for it come Tuesday morning. So just saying, we'll have the reaction for that on Tuesday. My kids get off early today from school, have off Friday, and have off Monday. 4-day weekend for the kids. So I'm going to spend 4 days with the family. I'm probably going to do the morning show tomorrow. But yeah, as long as my man Jason Sarney comes and hangs out with me, probably do that. But yeah, I'd like to see Sean Desai come in. If it comes to fruition, Sean Desai, Anthony Campanelli, I think it's Anthony Campanelli, that's his name, and Chris, the guy from Dallas. I would love to see all of them on Fangio's coaching staff, along with Sam Madison. That would be a crazy coaching staff. But it does look like Danny Crossman is staying, according to the Sun Sentinel. That would be interesting. Y'all know how I feel about Danny Crossman. I mean, last 2 years we've been at the bottom of special teams. I don't understand why he's still here, but Fangio, in my opinion, is going to be the head coach of the defensive side. We'll see where that goes. And I'm interested to see. I would hope Sean Desai comes here. But if Sean Desai comes here, I mean, he's essentially would be taking a step down because he's the defensive coordinator technically in Seattle. He's got like there's another defensive coordinator. It's weird. His title in Seattle's weird. But we'll have to see. But I want to see Desai here. It'd be great. Hashtag Stephen D. Can you make it to the Cali game next year, Charger game? Man, I want to come for the picnic. I need to talk to the off-season picnic that's over there. It's 10-year picnic for my guys over there. The Cali fan club. SoCal fan club's 10th annual picnic is this year. I want to come for that. I don't know. I've never been to the West Coast, real talk. So I don't know about that, Bobby. You want to know something weird? I'm deathly afraid of earthquakes. Like, it is my biggest fear. I was in one earthquake here on the East Coast about several years ago. It was probably 8 or 9 years ago. It was before kids, so it might even been 10 years ago. There was an earthquake here in like Northern Virginia, and we felt it up in the Maryland area. And it was a big one. And I'm in Bass Pro Shops working. I worked for Blue Green Vacations, which is the sponsor for tonight's dual races for NASCAR. Sold vacation packages. And I'm in there, and if you've ever been inside Bass Pro, they have these huge lighting displays with like deer horns and stuff on them. And so I'm there, and I'm in the middle of a sales pitch to somebody, and all of a sudden the building started to move, and the chandeliers, that's what they are, chandeliers, started to shake back and forth. And it was like probably 10 seconds, but it was the longest 10 seconds of my life. It was like literally seeing the building shake like that. Yeah, the earth is not supposed to move like that. So I shut down the center. Like I shut down like my little blue green vacations, called it I'm going home. I'm going home. So I wasn't not in with that. So that I've never been to the West Coast specifically because I'm deathly afraid of earthquakes. The earth is not supposed to move like that. Okay. Don't like it. Can you make it to the Cali game next year? Maybe do our own tailgate. Maybe, man. I don't know, man. The guy you want to speak to for that is Mark NorCal Angelo. He's the guy who sets up all the West Coast stuff. 100%. Hashtag ask Stephen D. Are you jealous of Rex Ryan because he doesn't have a tattoo of his wife in your quarterback's jersey? What? He doesn't have a tattoo of his wife in your quarterback's jersey? What? I'm confused by this, noob. Are you jealous of Rex Ryan because he doesn't have a tattoo of his wife in your QB's jersey? I don't know where that's coming from. I'm straight confused on that, noob. You're going to have to redo that for me because I don't understand. And I'm not jealous of Rex Ryan about anything. So the answer is no. Lewis, can we an MSM award show like panel of the year, panel fan of the year, like best take of the year, stuff like that? That's a good idea, Lewis. Chef Zhu and you and Level 2 Noob and Vonjo maybe should put together like 10 categories that you would want to see. Let me know like 3 people from each category and I will choose a winner. And we'll do a Spread Kindness Friday. Well, we'll do award shows for an award show for MSM. I'm down with that, Lewis. But you got to like get that together with Chef Zhu and come up with like 10 categories. And then we'll do it like that. And then I'll pick of what's left. Lewis says that would be tight, low key. Hashtag ask Stephen D. Have you ever been to the National Aquarium? Favorite exhibit? I have been to the National Aquarium. I haven't been in a long time. So I don't remember anything. It was a long time since I went, but I went with my kids. So I think that, but we have an aquarium here, in Baltimore. And I want to say it's actually called the National Aquarium. It could be the National Aquarium here in Baltimore. But it's a great aquarium and I love that. So it's a really good one. I like that one. Adam E says, hashtag ask Stephen D. What excuse you have ready for Bubba this season? In all seriousness, though, I think he will make the playoffs this year, maybe 14th, 15th, or 16th spot. Adam E, I'm a huge Bubba Wallace fan, as most of you who watch the show know. Love Bubba Wallace. Bubba, big Bubba fan. Love Bubba. I think this is the year it all comes together for him. Last year, he had so many bad, just bad luck. Just bad luck. The pit crew, they changed cars last year. They went from the older model cars to the next gen cars. That's what they're called, next gen. And so things like when you're changing tires, for those of you who don't watch NASCAR, you used to put 5 lug nuts onto a tire. Well, these new next gen cars, it's one big lug nut. And so for things like if your wheel gets, you would think it would be easy. One big lug nut, you put it on, but it's not as easy as you think. You got it. It's all like black or red or whatever. It's the same color and it's got to click up. And if you don't see it click up and you leave your pit stall and the wheel goes down the wheel goes down pit road and you're driving with 3 wheels, which happened to Bubba, I think once or twice last year. I mean, his pit crew he left him hang. His pit crew probably robbed him of 3 or 4 top 10 finishes last year and at least 1 or 2 wins. Personal opinion. So Bubba, I think, will make the playoffs this year. I hope they tightened up on all that stuff. I'm excited about it. And, I think he's finished top 5 the last 2 years in the Daytona 500, second being one of them. He might have even finished second twice the last 2 years. I'm trying to remember. I know he finished second one year. I don't know where he finished last year, but I predict Bubba will have a chance to win on Sunday. Like he will be up there for the win when it's all said and done on Sunday, which I'm excited about. Go Bubba. Bubba Wallace. Love me some Bubba. Hashtag Ask Stephen D. Who has the worst takes on your panel since you started? I mean, that's Pete. Pete, hands down. But Lewis is right behind him, Concrete. Lewis is 100% right behind him. Pete's takes definitely have been the worst that I have heard. But Lewis is getting up there. Although Lewis had a great day yesterday. Lewis yesterday did. I was very proud of Lewis yesterday. 93% of his takes were on point. Enjoyed it. Gabriel Sosa, hashtag Ask Stephen D. Who was our special teams coach of the year? Our punter accumulated the same amount of passing touchdowns as Skyler has. Who was our special teams coach the year? Our punter accumulated the same amount of passing TDs as Skyler has. Rizzy. Probably Rizzy. If it happened in the last 15 years, it would have been Rizzy. Who I miss. God, dearly I miss Darren Rizzy. Darren Rizzy went through 4 coaching staffs. 4 coaching staffs. Stayed the special teams coordinator through 4 coaching staffs. Rizzy's the man. I love Rizzy. Let me buy you a brew, Stephen D. Coke to Chargers game with the crew. I haven't felt earthquake in maybe 10 years. I don't want to do Coke at the Chargers game. No, that's not what you meant. I'm always down for a beer, but man, I don't play with earthquakes, man, at all. Bonjo says, you and I both, Stephen D. The earth spontaneously moving without warning doesn't sit well with me. Terrifying. I'd rather a hurricane over earthquakes any day. 100%. I can deal. You know a hurricane's coming. You can prepare for a hurricane. You cannot prepare for an earthquake. That just happens. You're just there. And all of a sudden, the earth moves. No, thank you. Can't do the West Coast. Rex Ryan has a tattoo of his wife on Mark Sanchez jersey. I never knew anything about this. I have to do more research on it, but okay, I guess. I have no idea. Steven, Miami Dallas game, I'll be there next season. Kevin, that'll be good. That'll be a fun one, man. You can't choose the winner, Stephen D. The fans got to choose. The fans got to choose? All right, maybe we'll do a fan vote and my vote. But it is a fan show. You are right about that, Trey. I'll give that to you. This is a show made for the fans by the fans. Maybe it should be the fans. Bobby Supreme, hashtag Ask Stephen D. Can you start a petition for us? Fans who want throwbacks 2000s jerseys to be permanent. We can all take a vote, but anything is better than the jerseys we wore this year. Look, here's the reality of the situation. They know. The Garfinkel and the entire Miami Dolphins organization knows that the fans want the throwbacks. They are not giving it to us for whatever reason. So we can do all the positions they want. It's not going to make any difference. It's not. They know that we want it. There's been a public outcry for 2 or 3 years, majorly, for more than that, really, ever since these jerseys came into fruition. Excuse me. So we can do it, but it ain't gonna mean a difference because they know we want the permanent jerseys, or we want the throwbacks as our permanents. Hashtag Ask Stephen D. Who gets the Homer of the Year award? Probably me. I'm a homer. I can admit it. I've admitted that I'm a homer in some of my takes. That's probably the homer in me. I'm not mad at it. Hashtag Ask Stephen D. What team are you backing in the XFL? I will watch the XFL. I think the San Antonio Brahmas are having former Miami Dolphin quarterback. What's his name? Now I got to look it up. San Antonio. I love how when stuff works and doesn't work. Cannot think of his name for the life of me. Roster. Here we go. Reed Sinet. Reed Sinet is on the San Antonio Brahmas. Brahmas, however you say their stupid name. I don't know how to say their name, but they're on that team. But I have to admit, I've heard the atmosphere in DC was pretty awesome for the DC Defenders. So I might actually check out a game. I'm not sure yet. It'd be cool. I might go check out an XFL game in DC. But I watch. I'm interested to see the biggest differences between the XFL and the USFL. By the way, I don't think two leagues can survive together. Somebody's going to have to give. But the XFL does have the relationship with the NFL, and that, they got going on their side. So we'll see what happens. Can you go off camera next time you suck? This is my water, man. This is my water. I got to drink water. Killing me, Jose. If bald people work in a restaurant, do they still need to wear a hairnet? Yes, by law, they're supposed to. I didn't know you could put a tattoo on a jersey. That's pretty cool. He has a tattoo of his wife wearing a jersey, not on the jersey. Oh, see, I didn't understand that either, Bobby. So don't feel bad. I didn't. Noob wasn't being very. He was not being specific. Like we were all kind of lost in the dark. Let's see here. OG Stephen D. We are both homers, so we could share that award. Stephen D. If we do a petition, they have to give us the throwbacks. It would be law that the people were asking for. We just need to do the petition. LOL. Why won't they give the fans what they want? Because we're Dolphins fans, and they have yet to ever give us what they want. Ever. Let's see here. Hashtag Ask Stephen D. Are you a fan of the term to a near, or are you against it? The very first time I ever heard the word to a near was on TD's morning, or it was on TD's show. And I always thought it was a funny phrase. I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think it was a bad thing. I didn't think it would ever really grow into what it became. It took a life of its own, 2 years. So the very first time I ever heard it was on TD's platform. And I'm not a serious guy for the most part. I have my moments. Don't get it twisted. But I think it's funny, 2 years, 2 and on. I like it. But I also know how polarizing he is in our community, Tua. And I think fans, some of the fans, not all the fans, took it to another level. So are there moments when 2 ears or 2 and on or Tua haters or whatever you want to call yourselves can get a little bit of annoying? Yeah, 100%. I think so. And myself included. I hate talking about it sometimes. Because I know the only thing that ends it is winning. And that's all I want. But, it is what it is, and it gives my platform an opportunity to keep rolling. So it works. It's good and bad. It's got its pros and its cons. I don't know if I'm against it or a fan of it, but it is what it is. Let's Steven. I am Touche. Steven, are you going to the Panthers game tonight in DC versus the Capitals? Anybody got tickets? Free tickets for me to go? I'll go if there's free tickets, but I'm not paying to go. How do you not know about this story? It's still joked about on ESPN. I don't watch ESPN. That's the first thing. Sorry to say, I do not watch ESPN. They hate us because they ain't us. You're right, Bash 305, 100%. It costs more money to switch everything over. Every logo throughout the buildings would have to switched. He has the money, but would rather stay current and sell the throwbacks for additional money. That's not a far off theory out of me. That's not a far off theory. Steven, the president of the 2 ears. I used to be at one point. I'm not anymore. No more stupid current trash logo. The Patriots could be after Waddle, guys. I don't know what you're talking about there, noob. Stephen D, you hold the power. Do the petition, and all of us watching will sign it. Give us our team back. No more Ross takeover. Hey, look, we tried to do stuff last year. Toss Boss Ross, the Finns tailgates were doing stuff. I was doing stuff, but they didn't listen to us. We tried to do it. It never went anywhere. So our platform is not as strong as you might think it is. Just letting you know all the rumors going around. Blessed day to y'all. Caslin says you're still a 2 in air. Stephen, Tua is not as polarizing as his name is. He's too quiet to be polarizing, but the mention of his name is another ball game. You know, people ask me all the time. Make sure, by the way, if you want to ask me anything, hashtag Ask Stephen D, put it in the chat. I will answer it. We need to get some more questions in there. We had 7 years of Ryan Tannehill. And towards the end of Tannehill, I thought that, man, Dolphin fans either love Tannehill or they hate Tannehill. There's no in between. And I thought that he was polarizing for the most part. And I was like, man, nobody's – but I also said we've had a revolving door of quarterbacks before Tannehill. I don't think we had a quarterback for more than 2 years at that point. Every couple of years, it was changing. Correct me if I'm wrong. We've had 27 starting quarterbacks since Dan Marino, something like that, something ridiculous like that. I'm not exactly sure the exact number, but Tannehill was the longest that we've had post Marino and Jay Fiedler. So I remember saying to myself, I'm like, well, you know, there's nobody can be that polarizing. You know, whoever comes in, whether it's Tua or somebody, hopefully the fan base will get behind them. Nope, wrong answer. Tua took Tannehill times 10 by 10. And I think it's because, I mean, I think it was a perfect storm for Tua and Dolphins fans. Dolphin fans are pissed off. They're upset. 20 plus years of losing. Haven't won a playoff game. They went through 7 years of a quarterback that they should have been done with after 4. They just didn't want to do it, you know? And so they didn't want to deal with losing. And so when you bring in a Dolphins fan, or when you bring in a quarterback that has a history of injury, right? Coming off, in some cases, career-ending injury. And you just finished off a tank job. You have a lot of controversy in your front office and the head coach at the time. I mean, there was a lot going on, man. There was a lot. And then you have a somewhat decent quarterback in Fitzpatrick, who fans love because the team shouldn't have been anything, and they won, something ridiculous, 7. Where'd they go? They won 5 out of the last 7 games that year or something like that. So, you know, they're like, oh, this kid's great. You know, he can start and be behind Tua. And Tua started, week 4? Week 5? After the bye week, he was starting or something like that first time. And so, you're right. Tua is too quiet, but the fans I just think they're over it. They're over mediocrity and have every right to be. And we saw what happened when we kept a quarterback 7 years too long last time. And I think fans are nervous about that. They don't want to be in year 7 with Tua and us be in the same boat that we've talked about since year 3. That's why I think some of the Tua haters, or the people that are not big fans of Tua, are like, yeah, like they're getting louder. And God forbid the losing happens this upcoming season. You think you've heard bad and crazy fans and pissed off fans now. Take it to another level. God forbid it happens this coming up season. It will be bad. It'll be chaos. Straight chaos. No doubt about it. G says, hashtag Stephen D, would you trade Tua for Purdy, even Steven? No. Tua. I still keep Tua. Hashtag Stephen D. Have you seen that type video for Tua where Mike Vick is narrating? Nope, I haven't. I should look at it. Send me the link on Twitter. I'll look at it. Not here, but after the show. I'm sorry, Stephen D. Just I had no idea you attempted this. I just started watching your show this past summer, man. Hey, Bobby, I appreciate you watching the show, man. Big fan. Steven is on Tua's payroll. No, I'm not. Trust me, I'm not. Can I see the money? At least? Please let me know. Steven, what do you think if Miami doesn't give Tua a fifth-year option? I mean, I don't see them giving him a fifth-year option. I don't see him giving him a fifth-year option. Here's the thing. He has to play well this year, and they're not going to give him a fifth year. I mean, let me come at it from two different perspectives. You can look at it from he hasn't done enough to gain the fifth-year option yet, or you can, but that only leaves you on the team this year and a franchise tag next year. It might behoove the team, though, to give him the fifth-year option now. Whatever is agreed upon, let him pay on the fifth-year option, and then franchise tag him the following season. But then we have 3 more years of Tua, and the only way I want 3 more years of Tua is if the Dolphins have won some playoff games and are legit contenders. I'm telling you, if this season comes up and we do not win a playoff game, everything's on the table. And I said that last offseason, and I'll say it again this season. I just want to win. Fans are over mediocrity. They're over not winning. Dolphin fans want to win. They want a winner. If Tua's not going to be that guy, I don't care about his fifth-year option. It probably behooves them to actually give him the fifth-year option because you don't have to give him a new contract for another 2 years. You can let him play this year, right? Let him play the following year on the 5th year, and then you can franchise tag him the following year after that. That's 3 years of Tua you could have left. Without giving him a new contract. You can get 3 more years of Tua without giving him a new contract. Maybe even 4, depending on how the franchise tag works then. So, God forbid we have him 7 years. And again, that's what I go back, Pete, to what I was saying. I think the last thing Dolphin fans want is Tannehill 2.0. But I think that now that I'm thinking about it and saying it out loud, odds are they're going to give him the 5th-year option because it financially just makes sense for them. And if he doesn't work out, they'll take the dead cap hit. Point blank. Steven, I saw Tannehill in a Publix in Miami. No one knew who he was. He was in there just walking. That sounds right. Stephen D, do you think Ross will ever consider a new stadium once we win another Super Bowl? Doesn't need to, Canes 1989. The stadium we have now is gorgeous. You say all you want about Ross, and I do. Trust me, I do. But, man, I'm not going to say anything negative about the stadium. I love it. I love Hard Rock Stadium, the way it currently is designed. Do I wish it was indoors and it was air conditioning? Yes. But I don't, that's part of their home field advantage. So I don't want them to lose that. As a fan, I just, if you want to sit in air conditioning, sit in the club level. Point blank. Von Joe knows what I'm talking about. Stephen D, I love your show, but I can't stand Reason Show. Look, I understand. I'm going through comments. I'm not proofreading everything. I will say this. Everybody is not everybody is for everybody. Everybody has something to offer. Everybody has something to give, but I respect everybody's platform. Reason, the Fins Tailgate, TD, Doug, K Flexin, Dolphins United, Chat Sports, anything, I respect everybody. 5 Reasons Sports. I respect everybody's platform, man. And I know I missed a lot of people, and I apologize, but Miss Fins, everybody. So everybody is not for everybody. It's just like stand-up comedians. You're not going to get every joke, and every comedian's not for you. Same thing with these platforms. Not everybody is for everybody. I only have 70 people watching right now. When TD goes live, he has 500. I'm not there yet. I'm not anywhere near there yet. And so some people probably see me as the same way, that I'm not their cup of tea. So be it. But you keep on thriving to the audience that you have, and you cater to them as best as you can, and you keep on grinding it, which is what I do every day. So if you like that, donate to the channel, please. There's no donations today. Donate. All right. OG Stephen D. Facts. It's been 20 plus quarterbacks since Marino retired. Yeah, it's crazy, man. I'm sick of the merry-go-round that is the revolving door that is Dolphins quarterbacks. Hashtag Stephen D. Well, let's be honest. When Tannehill was here, there wasn't so many platforms for Dolphin fans to argue about players. You hit the nail on the head, Jose. You hit the nail on the head. 100%. Hashtag Ask Stephen D. Have you seen the DVOA for the past 21 years? If they finish top 7 in DVOA is either offense or D, you'll win the next Super Bowl. There's 11 teams that qualify. Next year, Miami is one. Interesting. Adam, send me more stuff on that. That's interesting on Twitter. I'd like to see more stuff on that, like screenshots and stuff. Nothing is wrong with our stadium. Yeah, 100%. You know that boy wants guaranteed money after that Cincy game. I'm sure he does, but the Dolphins are going to do what's in the best interest of the Dolphins. We know that. Hashtag Ask Stephen D. I think Tua will make it to a Super Bowl before and winning Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence. So, Corey, you think that Tua will make it to a Super Bowl before Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence? That's a hot take. That is a hot take right there. I hope so. I pray. I hope that happens, Corey. Let's be honest. Cincy is in a much better spot than the Dolphins are right now. And I'm not saying the Dolphins are in a bad spot, by the way. I just think Cincy's in a better spot. Jacksonville, they look scary. I'm not saying they look like, Doug Peterson's got that team right where he wants them. And they're gonna make some other offseason moves, and they're gonna be interesting and fun to watch. We'll see. I'm not saying your take is bad. I'm saying it's a hot take, and I hope that it's right, and I hope it comes to fruition. Kevin Lee says, Steven, unfortunately, I see another 9-8 season coming until we make a big change at quarterback. A realist can see Tua will only play 10 to 12 games a season at this point. We need a backup that can win. Kevin, I agree with the last sentence. We need a backup that can win. The Dolphins are going to decide to go with Tua, and if they do that, then you need to have a backup quarterback that can obviously, win you some football games. And whoever that might be, whether that's Gardner Minshew, Baker Mayfield, Jimmy Garoppolo, who I still think is an option to come in. Y'all think I'm crazy, but PFF has him on a 1-year, $15 million deal. And if I'm Dolphins, I'm straight going after Jimmy G on 1 year, 15 mil. You want to come here 1 year, 15 mil? We'll give it to you. We'll give you 20 mil. I wouldn't mind taking Jimmy. Y'all think I'm crazy for that, but I'm telling you, I would do it because he'd guaranteed to get 4 to 6 games here. Odds, the history shows Jimmy G would get 4 to 6 games here. And if I'm, just put it in the back of your minds. And if it happens, y'all be like, Steven, you knew what you were talking about. I'm not saying it will. I'm just saying don't be surprised if it happens. They got to go out and get a backup somewhere. They do. And they know that they need a quarterback that is capable of winning football games. Teddy Bridgewater, Jacoby Brissett, they're not going to cut it, bud. They are not going to cut it. And Skyler's not ready yet. And I think the team knows that. They like Skyler. They like Skyler a lot. but they're not going to bet, or they're not going to put all their eggs in one basket and bet on him that if Tua or when Tua goes down, that he's going to be the guy to come in and win football games. It's not going to happen. They're going to have to go out and get a quarterback from somewhere that can come in for 4 to 6 games and not only be the backup, but win games as a starter for 4 to 6 games. You don't think they'll spend more money on a backup this year than they have in the past? Of course they will. And if they don't, then I can play into a lot. There are a lot of people that want to bring the narrative that Chris Greer doesn't whatchamacallit, is not a good GM. I personally think that he is. Now, if they sit idle at the QB and let Skyler be the backup with knowing the things that are Tua, then there's more to meets this story. And it's either 1A or 1B. 1A is, and what I hope it is, if they sit idle and do not bring in a backup quarterback and let Skyler be the number 2 this year, and they go with 2 quarterbacks, knowing what they know about Tua and knowing his injury history, I'm going to question the hell out of the Dolphins organization and Greer and everybody. What are they thinking? Why would they do this? I don't believe that'll be the case. I believe that they will go out and get a backup, and we'll have 3 quarterbacks on the roster next year. Okay? Just throw that out there. But if they do, the only logical thing for me is that the moment he goes down, there's already a backdoor conversation to bring back Brady. Because it's the only thing that would logically make sense to me. But to put all their eggs in the basket of Skyler, no way. None whatsoever. Jimmy G is a quarterback that can demand $15 million in the open market per year. More than that, probably. And and people want to talk to me all the time about starters, right? Jimmy G would rather go be a starter in New York with the Jets, or he'd rather go be a start. If he goes to the Jets, he's getting a long-term deal. We're not beating a long-term deal. I'm talking about 1-year options for Jimmy G. And if Jimmy G is considering just taking a 1-year deal, I personally think he would rather be a backup starting 4 to 6 games, knowing odds are I'll likely start 4 to 6 games. I'll get to play with Waddle and Tyreek Hill. And I can go crazy, go off in that, and then get some big contract somewhere else in the future. Or the Dolphins will be like, well, he's good. We'll just keep him over Tua. It makes sense to Jimmy G if he gets a 1-year deal. I hope y'all are hearing me. If Jimmy G takes a 1-year deal or is considering 1-year deals, which Pro Football Focus is stating that Jimmy G is saying that, yeah, he's probably thinking about 1-year deals unless a good long-term deal comes by, then Jimmy G will consider Miami, and Miami should consider Jimmy G. It'd be stupid not to consider him. And who cares what they pay for him? He would be the best backup option. And he'd probably be a starting option at the moment Tua goes down. Then you have a real quarterback controversy. The moment he goes down and Jimmy G comes in and wins football games, can you imagine? The fan base will be in an uproar. But we'll be winning football games, which is what we want. I do not want Teddy Bridgewater again. I do not want another Jacoby Brissett. I don't. And if we're going to keep Tua, you better bring in somebody who can win you football games. And I've said Gardner Minshew, and I like Gardner Minshew, but I will say Gardner didn't win with Philadelphia this year. Nope, didn't. He sure didn't. And I said on this show multiple times, I'm like, nah, I like Gardner Minshew. He's a guy who can come in and win you football games. He didn't win, though. Baker Mayfield, same way. Baker, I think, did win a game or two for LA. But either way, they got to bring in somebody who can keep them in a football game and not really break stride. That if Tua goes down, it's not the end of the world. And I'm sorry, a quarterback was in the 7th round that's thrown 2 touchdown passes in his entire career, you all know goodness well that the moment Tua goes down, that we'd all be up in arms. Oh my God, Skyler, we're going to rely the season on Skyler. It's over. Pack it up. No point in playing. There'll be a couple. You'll have your Pete's takes up here saying, nope, the season, we're good now. Skyler's the guy. But come on, let's be honest. Let's call a spade a spade. I'm just saying the backup needs to be good. I know I got off on a tangent there. Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show. Clock Blockers. # Ask Stephen D. Questions here. I'm going down the list, so keep them coming. I'm backed up a little bit, so give me a chance to catch up. # Ask Stephen D. What happens to the Tua haters when he wins us a championship? They shut up. Winning cures all, Giovanni. Winning is the cure to everything. If the Dolphins win, it does not matter who is the quarterback. Doesn't. They want to win. Wildin' Out Wednesday, part 2, Thursday edition. Open it up, Stephen D. I'm not opening it up this morning. I'm not. Let's see. Actually, we were going at TD with Tannehill, and some wonder why TD has turned out the way he has when TD was supporting Tanny. Nobody said TD was a hater. Facts are facts, my guy. # Ask Stephen D. Did you see Herbert's contract offer 6 years, $295 million $295 million a year? That's not right. You mean $29.5 million a year? Because $295 million a year, that's better than Patrick Mahomes. And he right now he's the best on the planet. Best quarterback in football, period. So I think that's a typo there, Kaz. Get that fixed. But if it's 29.5, again, Dolphins have 3 years to keep to pretty much at the same, very similar pay, 2 at the same pay rate or similar pay rate on a rookie contract, and 1 on a franchise tag. But hopefully by the time it even gets to that point, the Dolphins will be like, all right, here's, long-term deal. We want you here. Or they've moved on. Chef Shu says, Ask OG Stephen D. Do you feel that Vic Fangio's defense will help Tua be way better against another team's defense? So I read this morning on Twitter, and I don't know where I read it from. But it was interesting that, it's not a theory. It's just a thought process that Vic Fangio coming in is going to help Tua, because when they're in game plan meetings, Fangio will be able to help McDaniel with, hey, look, these are the disguises that I would run on Tua and how I would go about beating Tua. And you hope that will help improve how he attacks certain defenses next year. I hope that that's the case. And I do think that is. I think Fangio is such a big asset to this team. But the most important thing is he's going to be there as an aide and somebody for Mike McDaniel to lean on. He will be another head coach of this team, and it'll be good. It'll be really good. At least that's the hope, and I think that it is. Colin LaRoche says, # Ask Stephen D. What is your favorite Dolphins player of all time? Well, Dan Marino. But if it's not Dan, I mean, it goes. I was a huge OJ McDuffie fan. Loved OJ. And then obviously Zach Thomas and Jason Taylor. Those were my guys. I would say those 3 right there are like, I can't even put any one above the other. Like, I just enjoyed all 3, and they all have a certain place in my heart as a Dolphins fan. So I'm going to say Dan Marino, of course, that's the obviously, but besides that, it would have been, OJ McDuffie, Zach Thomas, Jason Taylor, which is why I'm considering going to Cleveland. I want to go. I want to see him get inducted. That'll be cool. 6 years, $295 million. That's still a crazy contract. Ritter says, # Ask Stephen D. It annoys me that we need basically a second starting quality quarterback on the roster. Thoughts? It's what you got, Ritter. I mean, so here's the reality of the situation. So everybody says they want to upgrade the quarterback. That's fine. But where are you going to go do it? And what is it going to cost you? And it's easy to say, I don't care what it costs. We just need to go get it. No, you have to care what it costs. You as a fan understand that you have to care what it costs. You do. You don't want to give up your future because anybody you go get, it is not a guarantee that it gets you a Super Bowl. It's not. It does not guarantee you that you get to punch a ticket to go to the Super Bowl. So you always need to have backup plans. And unfortunately, to go out and get an Aaron Rodgers or Lamar Jackson, who, by the way, neither one of them I really want. I would be, depending on what the deal is with Aaron, maybe, but I don't want Lamar. But you have to do that. Like, you'd have to give up draft capital, a lot of it, and you'd have to pay him an ungodly amount, which would strap you at certain other positions. Do you think those guys can help you bring in veterans at league minimums? Maybe. Aaron might be able to. But you better hope then, but then you're doing exactly what the Rams did. You are mortgaging your future for a Super Bowl now and maybe not anything the 10 years after that. Or what the Broncos did do with Peyton Manning. Or what they just tried to do with Russell Wilson. And you saw how that backfired for them. They got rid of all their draft capital for the next few years. The fact that Sean Payton wanted to go there is crazy to me. Because they don't really have things to work with. They don't have a lot of draft capital for the future. So understanding what it would take to get, understanding that last year 14 starting quarterbacks in the NFL went down with an injury. I think every team is looking for two quality players at the quarterback position. The Dolphins have missed. They've whiffed, not only on their backups, but their starting quarterbacks in the past. And their backups. But Tua is injury prone. Whether we like it or not, good, bad, or indifferent, however you feel about the man, he has not played an entire season in the last 4 years, 5 years of his career. He hasn't. He has not done it. College, pros, doesn't matter. The man gets hurt. I love him. I'm a big Tua supporter. Y'all know that. So you need to have a second quality starting quarterback. And half the teams in the NFL do too, Ritter. It's not just a Dolphins thing. It's half the league. Half the league needs it. So this is I think that we try to box ourselves in this typical Dolphins. No, this is half the league. And the other half, only maybe a third of that half have elite quarterbacks. Everybody else is still a question mark. They're still gambling. They're still trying to figure out, is this the guy that can bring us to a Super Bowl? Patrick Mahomes in the last 5 years been to 3 Super Bowls, 2 Super Bowl wins. There's 30-plus quarterbacks in the NFL. Tom Brady went to 10 Super Bowls in 21 years? Won 7 of them? There's only 2 quarterbacks that get to the Super Bowl every year. And a lot of them are the same group of guys. Remember, every year it was you got to throw in a Joe Flacco here one year. But it was Ben Roethlisberger a couple of years, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. It was the same 2 or 3 quarterbacks every year from the AFC for like a 15-year stretch. So you have elite quarterbacks that are a minute portion of the starting quarterbacks in the NFL. I think there may be 6 or 7 where you're like, there's no question, ands, ifs, or buts. That is a starter. He's elite. He can help us go to a Super Bowl. He gives us a really good shot of going to the Super Bowl. Anybody past 8, question mark. 8 to 14, you're somewhat satisfied with your quarterback. You think that they might be able to get to you there. Quarterback 15 and below, if you have an opportunity to improve, you do it. Almost every AFC, almost any team in the NFL, half the teams in the NFL are in the same boat that the Dolphins are in to a certain extent. You need 2 starting quality quarterbacks, Ritter. You need it. 100%. Canes 1999, hashtag Stephen D. How much stress can you take from the Dolphins before you say, I'm done, no more supporting this team? Really good question, Canes 1989. So I think that there are fans that are fed up right now with this team. I'm a fan for many different reasons, Canes 1989 and anybody else. But I'll tell you, I don't go to game. I want the Dolphins to win, and it sucks when they lose. And you ask my wife and my kids, I'm not like when the Dolphins lose, it's not a good day in my house. The household is down when the Dolphins lose. And when they win, it's up and I can move on with my life. And when they're down, the rest of the day is gone. It used to be a whole week. I'd be done for a whole week as a kid. But as an adult now, the rest of the day sucks. But for the most part, the rest of the week, I would go on about my life, whatever. But how much stress can you take from the Dolphins before you say, I'm done, no more supporting this team? I think that's different from everybody. I don't think I will ever get there personally. As far as the on the field and off the field stuff, like if you're still rooting for this team now after everything they've been through, I don't think there's anything that they can do for you not to support them. I mean, they've literally been through everything off the field and on the field as far as bad, negative losing. 1-15, off the field scandals, drug use, bullygate, political stuff, just everything, racial stuff, everything. This team has literally been through everything over the last 20 years. Good, bad, or indifferent. If you're still rooting for this team this day, I don't think you're ever going to stop rooting for this team. If you're not fed up already, what else is going to be different? 20 more years of losing? What do you think? Cubs fans had 108 years of not winning a World Series, and they still showed up to Wrigley Field. Now, there's a big difference between Chicago summers and Miami, winters, or Miami fall and Miami winters. I get that. I understand that. But a baseball ticket is a much different ticket than an NFL ticket. I get that. But I'm not going to consider somebody a fake fan because they're fed up. I think that there are fans that said, I can't watch them this year. I've had enough of it. And they put them on the back burner, but they're still check the scores. But they're not going to, there's some people that, the Dolphins are a drug. They're like, I can't do it no more. Like they have taken over my life and not in a good way. And my significant other just doesn't like it anymore. I'm not even going to say my wife, because there are plenty of women that are diehard Dolphins fans that their significant others are not. Okay, point blank. So I don't know if there is a stress limit, if there is a line, an imaginary line that fans cross over. My hope or my thought process is, they will keep on rooting for them no matter what. And this team is, poised to eventually turn it around, whether that's now or in crypto's mind 57 years from now, which will be 108 years for the Dolphins at that point. God forbid. We'll see. 34 likes, 69 people in the room. Hit that like button. Donate to the channel if you like the channel. Pete did a $2.99 donation. Thank you, Pete. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you. Love you, man. I don't like your takes, but I do love you. Last two Stevens with backups. We've been 0-5 and 1-4. That's not going to cut it. 100%. That's why I don't understand why people are getting mad at me for overspending on Jimmy Garoppolo for 1 year. I would do it in a heartbeat. I wouldn't think twice about it. Steven, that's foolishness, paying a backup $20 million when we have bigger needs at other positions we have to fill. I don't think it's foolish. I think we've been 1-9 with backups the last 2 years. And if you're going to stick with Tua, you need a good backup. And right now, Miami hasn't had one. Stephen D, if the backup quarterback is a priority every offseason, do you really have a franchise quarterback? That is actually a fair question, Noob. I think I answered it a little bit ago. Tua is the guy that they're supporting and they're going with the franchise, right? So you know that when Tua's on, for the most part, he's more than capable of winning you football games because he's done it. He's shown it. I know his last few games, he was off. You could say it was a concussion, whatever it was, that 49ers, Chargers, that those two games were rough. I thought he did good against Buffalo. Didn't do great, but I thought he did good. Was off on Christmas Day. I mean, that's 3 games right there where you're like, what in the world, bro? Are you kidding me? And so, and we just happened to lose that Buffalo game. We had every opportunity to win it. But he definitely didn't show up in his final 4 games for the most part. The Buffalo game, that's iffy. That's a fair question to ask, and I don't know if I have an answer for you on that, Noob. If a backup quarterback is a priority every offseason, do you really have a franchise quarterback? We have a starting quarterback more than capable of winning you football games. The issue is his health. And if he can stay on the field, I think we can win us some football games. But history shows that he can't stay on the field. So we have to make priority backup. Backup a priority. You have to. Jimmy G will be in Tampa. You're probably right. I don't think Jimmy will be here. I want Jimmy to be here. I don't think he will be here. But my hope is that if he is considering 1-year deals, that the Dolphins go out and try to, hey, man, we'd love for you to come and be the backup here in Miami. You're guaranteed to get 4 to 6 games. Somewhat, We'll have to see. Yeah, Skylar doesn't look good. Everyone hoping he will be good. I don't like it. I don't like it. Look what Brock Purdy did, and he's a 7th-round pick. Brock Purdy's 1 out of a million, man. Like, you just don't see what him and Tom Brady did. Brady being a 6th-rounder and then going on to be the GOAT. And then Purdy's an exception to the rule. He just is. I think Skylar for a 7th round had a real, there's a lot of promise with him. I'm not ready to put the world on his back yet. Even as a backup, he needs to be the number 3. Steven, I would hope Jimmy G goes to the Jets because that would mean we will be playing against the Jets backup quarterback since he's always hurt. Jimmy G, he's not always hurt, but I think he would be healthy enough to be our quarterback for 4 to 6 games. He usually gets you 4 to 6 games in. Steven, you need to stop hanging around Alex with that horrible take. Steven said, Steven, you are all cap right now. That's all right. Hashtag Ask Stephen D. Can you see teams stashing Skylar on practice squad after teams witnessed his piss poor play? Yeah, 100% teams. He started a playoff game and didn't waver. He wasn't horrible. He wasn't great. But he wasn't horrible. And any team, and we know how quarterbacks are. Reed Sinnett got picked up after we let him go. And he got on a couple of teams. Now he's in the XFL now, but so be it. You don't think they would pick up Skylar if we released him? In a minute. No way he clear waivers. None. Bobby Supreme said Brock Purdy's a better system with a better O-line, supposed to look like that. I bet Purdy looked worse than Skylar and Teddy on this Miami team. I don't know about that. That's an interesting take, Bobby, but I would never say that or think that. Steven needs help. I think the Dolphins have made him crazy. Yes, they have, Terrence. You are not wrong about that, brother. You are not wrong about that. Ain't nobody in their right mind giving Jimmy a long-term deal or a 1-year deal for $20 million. Pro Football Focus stated that he will probably get a 1-year, $15 million deal. Why is it not out of the question for the Dolphins to go and say, come play with us, we'll give you an extra few mil. And you can sit on the bench. You don't have to worry about getting hurt. And Tua hasn't played a full season yet. So when you get to come in, you get to play with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Why is that outside? Why do people think that's outrageous to think that could happen? That's insane to me that you don't even think that could happen. I sent you a DM on Twitter, no article, but I explained it. All right, I'll look at it after the show today, man. I appreciate it. Good stuff today, Steven. You're good solo. I like it. I appreciate it, Pete. I like doing solo. I didn't know what I was going to do today, but I like the hashtag Ask Stephen D. Might have to do that more often, especially with the off season that we're in here. Stephen D. Fangio dismantled Tua his rookie season. Yeah, he did, man. Fangio knows how to play Tua 100%, and I think that he will help him get better. At least that's the hope, right? That's the hope. Let's see here, man. Hashtag Ask Stephen D. Hashtag Ask Stephen D. What do you think of the Heat being interested in Kevin Love? They better be. The Heat made no moves at the trade deadline except getting rid of Dwayne Dedmon. I thought when they got rid of him a few days before the trade deadline, I'm like, oh man, they're setting themselves up to make a move on this thing. So I was really upset that they didn't make a move. Kevin Release getting an outright release from the Cleveland Cavaliers. If I'm honest with you, I think he ends up in LA with the Lakers. Him and LeBron are like this, but Miami better make a run at him. He's either going to end up, I think, in LA or Miami. And I think a couple dark horses could be Phoenix, maybe New York. The Knicks are always a dark horse, man. But, I mean, the Knicks suck. So, dark horse is probably Phoenix. Dallas might be interested in him. Don't doubt Mark Cuban trying to go after him. And Kyrie and Kevin have a relationship together, playing on that championship Cleveland Cavaliers team. So don't throw it out the window. Kevin Love's going to end up at a contender, is my thought. And Miami made no moves. I would love to see Kevin Love to Miami. So that would be my number one choice. And I'd like to see it, and I hope Pat Riley's very aggressive in going after him, because I was very disappointed in Pat Riley at the trade deadline. 100%. Hood Holiday says, good afternoon from Germany. How are you today? Hood Holidays, man. Shout out from Germany. Dolphins might be going there this year. I might be headed there. It depends. I'd love to see it. Hashtag Ask Stephen D. I have to be honest with you. The fact that Tua has not been able to stay healthy for a full season is a problem, and it scares me, honestly. It should scare you, and it is a problem. I'm not mad at people thinking that even the Tua haters or the Tua critics, whatever you want to call them, I get it. I understand it. Like, I have no problem with them being that way, and it should be a problem. It is a problem, and it should scare you. But look, Greer, what are you going to do about it? You're going to keep him? All right, I get why you're going to keep him. There's only so many quarterbacks in the NFL, and what you'd have to give up to go get somebody who's still not a guarantee. I get it. I understand it. But you better have a plan, and it better be a good one. Because if you sit idle and do nothing, I'm going to question it. If you go super aggressive, I mean, just do something. And don't let it be Jacoby Brissett or Teddy Bridgewater again. God forbid it's those two guys. Joe says, I'd mortgage 10 years of the same thing we've had for the past 50 years for one Super Bowl this coming up year or next. I don't think a lot of people would disagree with you. Stephen D., I believe that Rodgers can take this team to the promised land. We'll have to see. He's on his darkness retreat this weekend. So Aaron Rodgers is going on a darkness retreat. So we'll have to see what his darkness retreat tells him, if he will be staying or playing or whatever it is. 49.1 a year for Herbert is worth it. I'll pay it for him without crying one tear, Caslin says. We picked a bum with a broken hip. Dolphins make me cry. Dolphins do make me cry. I agree with that. As Finn, you can't handle my question, Scuba Steve. Scuba Steve. Tiana Dominguez says, are the Dolphins keeping Bridgewater as second string? I don't think so, and I don't think they should. My hope is that they don't. Teddy, hey, man, I know you're a Miami boy. I get it. Appreciate you while you were here, but nah, I'm good. I'm good with it. I don't want Teddy for another year. Fritter Foo says Lamar's stats have declined every year since 2019. Not worth the price. Fritter, I'm personally with you. A lot of people aren't. Thomas Jensen says, never forget December. Just think about this. 2 kickoff returns saved Greer, McGenie's Tua from getting their ass booted out. Just think about that real hard. Hey, never be done loving the Dolphins. That's my team for life, even if they suck for life. If you can jump ship, you're a fake fan, and jump now, I'll throw you off the ship. Look, I'll say this. I got this tattoo of the Dolphins logo, right? And I said, my dad used to give me crap about basketball and baseball. So just a little bit. I grew up in North Carolina. My dad's a military brat. My dad is the reason I'm a Dolphins fan to this day. And I fell in love with Dan Marino and just everything about the Dolphins and just loved the Dolphins. My mom's family's from New York. My dad's family from Connecticut. So when I was young, I would spend a lot of summers with my dad's side of the family. We'd go to Tennessee. We'd go to the Blue Ridge Mountains and have a couple weeks there. And we'd always go to New York every year or in Florida to go see my mom's side of the family. So my mom's side of the family were mostly Yankee fans. My dad's side of the family were mostly Red Sox fans. So when I grew up as a little kid, I grew up as a Red Sox fan up until probably 11 or 12. Around 11 or 12, maybe even 13, I thought my dad was an a-hole. I was like, I can't stand you. So what did I do? I became a Yankees fan to piss him off because I just wanted to get back at my old man. So I rooted for the Yankees up until probably their last, the World Series they got with A-Rod. So after that, though, I was starting to go to Camden Yards a lot in Baltimore because that's where I live. So the Orioles were horrible, just straight trash, but I loved Camden Yards. So I fell in love with Camden Yards. So I became an Orioles fan before they were ever even decent in 2012 or 2014. And so I still think to this day of myself as a Dolphins fan, as an Orioles fan. And I think I fell in love with them for the right reasons. I went to the ballpark, the food, the fans, the camaraderie. I started doing stuff with the Orioles. I worked on the Orioles radio network in 2007 as a producer. I just fell in love with I would listen to the Orioles day and night. Was a huge fan. And went to a buttload of games in the years 2011 through like 2015. I would go to games almost every summer. We're talking 20 to 30 games a year. The year of 2012, when they went to the playoffs, one of their best teams, I went to like 40 games that summer, 50 games. It was crazy. I loved them. Loved the Orioles. And so I fell in love with them. So I have a point to all this. So we talk about you jump ship if you're a fake fan. I think fans fall in love with different reasons. But what I will say to you is I would never leave the Dolphins in any way, shape, or form. And I got this tattoo. So I would always remind myself, no matter what happens, I'm a Dolphins fan for life. But I have chosen different teams for baseball. But am I a fake Orioles fan? I don't think I am. I think I'm a real one. I fell in love with the team the right way. Now, fans that jump on teams that are winning, that's a totally different story. Or you jump off a team because they're losing, that's a totally different story. I think those two ways are. Now, my dad used to call me a fair weather fan when it came to baseball and basketball because my loyalty in basketball is wherever LeBron went, my loyalty went. And that was true for the most part. But I do root for the Miami Heat because they're a team in Miami. But I grew up in North Carolina. And so LeBron was always my guy. So when LeBron retires, whenever that may be, my loyalty will be with Miami at that point, 100%. Now, I can admit that I root for LeBron and I root for the Lakers because LeBron's up there. And you can call me a fair weather fan if you want. That's fine. But I do root for the Heat and I watch them. But if the Lakers and the Heat were playing each other, if LeBron's on the Lakers, you're going to hate me. I'm going for LeBron. I want LeBron to get them rings. I want him to get them rings because I want him to get them championship rings so he can shut up all these Jordan lovers. But yeah. Talking about fake fans. You can call me a fake fan if you want, but when it comes to the Dolphins, you'll never do that. Chef Shoe said this right about the Cubs. Same goes for the Chiefs, Eagles, Lions, and Cardinals fan base. Been through the same thing as us. Miami Kid J. Steven, do you think it's time for Garfinkel to bring back the throwbacks for good? I can't stand the current uniforms. I agree. We talked about that earlier in the show. We definitely want to have the throwbacks as permanent. Yes. Let's see here. Stephen D, what do you think of Cardinals hiring the Philly D coordinator? Very surprised. Very, very surprised. Philadelphia, I have to tell you, before the announcement was official yesterday, I was a little nervous because Philadelphia had, their offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator got head coaching jobs. And I'm like, oh, snap. Vic Fangio's been with Philly this past year. That's a good, they might want to go after him. And at the last second, scoop him. And I was really scared and nervous that was going to happen. So, yeah. What do I think of the Cardinals itself? The Cardinals are in a very similar boat, I think, that we're in as far as Kyler Murray's concerned. So half the fan base in Arizona, about to say Phoenix, but in Arizona loves Kyler Murray, and the other half don't think he's the answer. So what do you do in that particular scenario? So, there's a rumor saying Sean Payton didn't go to Arizona because he didn't want to work with Kyler Murray. What do you do? So did Philly D's coordinator get that head coaching position because he was willing to work with Kyler Murray? Sound familiar? Or Mike McDaniel got the head coach position here because he was willing to work with Tua. So that's what I thought of the Cardinals, situation. Robert says, at Stephen D, I'm good with Skyler as the number 2 and Trubisky or Baker coming in to compete for the starting spot. They are not going to compete for the starting spot. They will be the number 2, but they will know full well that when Tua goes down, because history shows that he will, they're going to get a chance to start. They'll get their chance. Chris Johnson says, we stuck by Tannehill for 7 years, and then he made the Pro Bowl his first year with the Titans. He did, 100%. And a lot of the fan base was like, see what happens when you go to a good team? Fans are constructed different ways. And I think that one of the things that Dolphins never did here was give Tannehill an offensive line that was worth anything. And we can make the same statement true about Tua. And that's been one of the things. We need the Dolphins to shore up the offensive line all the time. You have a good offensive line, you have a shot of winning football games. Point blank. Okay? No ands, ifs, or buts about it. Shout out to Ritter. $10 donation. He says, smash the like button. Salute, Stephen D. Salute, man. If you haven't hit the like button already, go ahead and do it and donate to the channel. Help the channel grow. We can't grow without your help. I've never heard of a fan base worry about a backup quarterback. Are we serious? Yes, 100%. And I would say that's not true. You definitely have heard about backup quarterbacks. This is a totally different world that we're living in, the YouTube society that we're in, where we can hear every quarterback's gripe and moan. And gripe and moans are always a lot louder than praises. Point blank. Estefan, I'm not answering that question, Estefan. You're right. I'm running from your questions. Kevin Lee. They're coming. They're coming, Kevin. Hashtag Ask Stephen D. Giving Jimmy G $20 million, in your words, is the meaning of insanity. I disagree with that. Definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting different results. Giving a backup quarterback $20 million is not the definition of insanity. Okay? Just saying. It's not. It might be outrageous, but it's not insanity. Terrence Hurton says, I love your face, Steven. Hey, man, I'm trying. Kevin Love to Miami's heating up. I hope you're right, man. I want to see it happen. And if he doesn't go there, go with LeBron. So either go to LA or go to Miami. They need Kevin Love. That'd be a good fit there, going to get him. I hope so. Besides the Jets, Dolphins have the longest streak between the Super Bowls. You're correct, but there's what, 6 teams that have never won a Super Bowl. So I'm glad at least we have one. You know, I'm just sick of hanging my hat on undefeated 1972. Caffrey says you're going to get Tyler Heineke and you will settle for it. I've heard Tyler Heineke's name be mentioned as a potential backup or somebody down here in Miami. And you know what? I don't think I'm mad at it. I wouldn't be mad at Tyler Heineke. I could live with Tyler Heineke. He would not be my first choice. He wouldn't even be my second choice, but he would be a choice that, okay, he could come in and be competitive in football games. Is he going to win you some games? God, I hope so. But he has playoff experience. He's won some really good football games against some really good teams. So, and he wins. So I wouldn't be mad at Tyler Heineke at all. Brian Carroll says, do I think Carr is better than Tua? No, I do not. I think Tua is better than Carr. And I don't want Carr here. Personal opinion. What else? Gabriel Sosa says, ask Pete's sake, since there's so much value in Skylar, you think we can trade him for Lamar straight up? If we get these and we could glue these 2 injured quarterbacks together to make one good quarterback. That's pretty funny, Gabriel. I like that. BitBob66 says, hashtag ask Stephen D. Byron Jones gives me bad vibes. Doesn't fit Fangio's system. Do you think Greer could package him to another team so we can get an elite linebacker, defensive player Fangio wants? Here's the thing. I don't want any of the fans or anybody for that matter to say this person fits Fangio's defense or this person doesn't. At the end of the day, I think Fangio has a really good base here, and anybody who's currently here under contract can find a way into Fangio's defense. Now, will they want to? Fangio, that Byron Jones situation will be very interesting. My thought process is Byron and Fangio will have a conversation together. They'll see how fractured that relationship really is with Miami. Can he overlook it and come play under Fangio? I understand Byron gives you bad vibes and bad juju or whatever you want to call it, and I've had people tell me that too. But Fangio's a totally different person. And if Fangio wants Byron and Byron wants to play for Fangio, I think it'll be a good fit. That's how I see it. Chris Johnson, all the fake fans jumped right after Christmas. That will tell you your need once you start tossing fools. I seen your pic on a poster at the park. I am touche. Yes, so last year, my daughter and I have this picture where she's on top of my head, and we were on a huge poster at Oriole Park last year. I had people send me that like 3 or 4 times. Dude, I'm at the Orioles game, and you're on a poster here. Yeah. I want to get that poster. I should ask the Orioles for it. I wasn't calling you a fake fan. You said someone, if you feel like leaving sometimes because they suck. No, I don't know if you were talking to somebody else or me. I know you weren't calling me a fake fan. What else we got here? Hashtag ask Stephen D. $2.99 donation from Chris. Appreciate the donation, man. Steven, not sure how often you watch the NBA in general, but I've seen Luka and Kyrie have trouble playing together the last few games, losing 3 straight. Not sure if Kyrie was the right move. You say what you want. You know, that Heat team, when they put together that super team, whatever, remember those first 30 games, 40 games, they weren't winning games. They did not mesh well in the beginning. But after a while, they found the right pieces, or they got comfortable with each other. Basketball is the tale of 2 seasons. You do what you do in the regular season, you get into the postseason, it's a different story. You start playing in these series, it gets a little bit different. So what I'll say to you, Kevin, is let Luka and Kyrie just learn how to vibe with each other and learn how to play with each other. Don't worry about the wins and losses. They're going to make the playoffs. And when they do, they're going to be a scary team to play in the West. Dallas is going to be a really good team. I believe so. My hope is I get to see Dallas versus Phoenix. I'd really love to see that matchup. Dallas versus Phoenix will be a really good matchup. Stephen D, you're not a Dolphins fan because you won't answer my questions because you're asking crazy questions, Estefan. My boy Booyah on a 10-day contract for the Heat. Keep an eye out for him. Manzik, get him up here for me, man. Tell him to come up on my show. I'll interview him. Is he in the G League right now? Is he on a 2-way contract? Noob says Kyrie is absolutely the wrong move. Cuban wasting Luka's best years like he did with Dirk. Effing bum. Let's see here. Big bus, medium bus, short bus, 2020 draft preparing for departure lanes, 5/18/30 I-95 northbound. Oh my God, you guys are crazy. He's on the Heat roster right now. Tell him, hey, get him up here, man. I'll interview him. Wade had to accept being the number 2. That's true. When they had to mesh. All right, Miami Sports Music's number 1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. I am your host, Stephen D. In the chat right now, put everything up there. You know, hashtag Ask Stephen D. I'm answering your questions at least for the next 15 minutes because my kids are coming home. But I'll answer your questions for another 15 minutes. You ask, I'll answer. Whatever you want to ask, I am definitely here to answer your questions. If you guys like what you see right now, make sure you guys hit the like button, donate to the channel, help the channel grow, and we'll keep it moving. If all else fails, tank for Caleb 2024. Cesar, for those of you who watch college football, I invite you to watch some USC football games this year. Okay? And, watch Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is absolutely bananas. And I think he's one of the best draft prospects that I've seen in the last 20 years. And I really enjoy watching him. And I'm not a USC fan. Never rooted for USC, but man, this kid is fun to watch. And so if all else does fail, which is why I don't want to give up anything for Lamar, and I really don't want to give up anything for Aaron, because God forbid Lamar and Aaron don't work out, we're stuck with nothing and no draft picks. So that's what scares me. At least with Tua, we have a chance to play this out, see where it goes, bring in a high-priced backup quarterback, see where it goes. But if that doesn't work out, you get Caleb next year, man. You do everything. And that is somebody that I'm like, I'll give up the world for Caleb Williams. I'll trade 5 first-round draft picks for Caleb. Yes, I said 5. I would trade for Caleb in a minute already. Today, I would want Caleb Williams would be the number 1 draft pick in this past year's draft. The kid is legit. And man, when he is on, telling you, that kid's going to be awesome in the NFL. He's going to be amazing in the NFL. Caleb Williams is definitely awesome. Love that kid. Let's see here. If it was up to LeBron, thank God Godfather overruled him. Fire Spoelstra. To fire Spoelstra. Darth Vader. Good morning, Stephen. Fins up. Hashtag Darth Vader. What's up, man? How are you, man? Thank you for the donation. Donations are greatly appreciated. They help the channel grow. Donate right now. Stephen D, how on earth do you fix the divided house known as the Dolphins fan base? Robert asked. Winning. I mean, I said this earlier in one of the other questions. I think winning is the only thing that cures the division within the fan base. There's nothing else that will. There's no one player that can do it. Like Tyreek is a huge enough player that you think that would bring the fans all in. And fans were still like, well, who's going to throw it to him? I mean, seriously. So the only thing that helps fix a divided fan base is winning. And it is not only divided, it's fractured. It's broke. and time heals and winning heals. So that's what needs to be. That's what needs to happen. As Finn says, hashtag Stephen D, would you give up your left nut for a Super Bowl? Hashtag Cyclops. Yes, I would. I would give. You only need one. So yeah, Finn, I would give up my left nut for a Super Bowl. I wouldn't even think twice about it. Is Caleb better than Bryce Young? Yes, he is. And I don't want no Alabama quarterback anyway. It's already worked out bad for us. I don't want to do the Alabama quarterback 2.0. No, thank you. No, thank you. How tall is Caleb? I'm not sure. We ain't going to be that bad for us to get Caleb, Darth Vader said. No, but we might have the draft prospects to go out. We might have the prospects. We might have, there's a lot of opportunity for us to go out and trade for that. We'd have to give up the world, but I would give up the world for Caleb. Hashtag Stephen D, what do you call a guy who tells you what someone else said without you asking? What do you call a guy who tells you what someone else said without you asking? A tattletale? I don't know. I had to read that like 5 times. G. I don't like that. If somebody calls me up talking about somebody else, unless it's business, like straight business talk, not a big fan of that. It's high school all over again. Ritter says, very good chance we would not have to trade up in next year's draft. Brutal schedule 2023. We have the second hardest schedule in the NFL. So Ritter, I guess you are not very you don't think the Dolphins are going to do it, huh? Is that what you're saying? They're not going to do it with this roster? I hope you're wrong, Ritter. Hope you're wrong. Adam E says, hashtag Stephen D, what are you more upset about being wrong, Raiders or Eagles? Both went different directions than you thought. 100% they did, man. That's why I'm not a huge fan of Carr. Carr had a lot of weapons this year. He had a lot of opportunities, and I don't think it'd be that much different here. And I don't think he's better than Tua, in personal opinion. Would he play more games? Of course he would. But he's not worth the price tag. I wouldn't want him. Not at the price he'd be asking for. And then as far as the Eagles, I was very surprised that the Raiders didn't do it. I definitely thought the Raiders were going to be the team to beat in the AFC West this year. I was, in that same hot take that I had about the Raiders, I said that the Broncos would be horrible. Nobody believed me on that one, and they were. So you can say that I was wrong about the Raiders, but I was dead right about the Broncos take. As far as the Eagles, the reality is they ran into a case schedule in that postseason. You could say they did. They did. They had a case schedule. Got very lucky. But I will give credit where credit is due, and Jalen Hurts makes that team better. And that Eagles team put up a fight and almost gave. They were a call away from that being a totally different finish to that Super Bowl. A one call away from that just being a totally different outcome. So, definitely. Chris Johnson says, I want Peyton's son, Archie. I don't think that's Peyton's son. That's Peyton's nephew, Archie Manning. I think that's the other brothers, not Eli's, not Peyton's. I can't think of the other brother's name, but I think that's his son, the third brother. But yeah, Archie Manning's going to be really good for Tennessee. Yeah, I think that's where he's going, Tennessee, if I'm correct. It's Cooper's son. That's right. It's Cooper's son. Couldn't remember Cooper's name. Hashtag Stephen D, what is your favorite moment between the Miami Miracle and the first Buffalo win this year? I was at both games, Anthony. And I was actually asked the question, what was bigger, the Miami Miracle or the comeback in Baltimore? Both games were amazing to be at. I enjoyed both of them. I enjoyed the first Buffalo win this year. Buffalo win was kind of anticlimactic because we won. I was very excited about it, but it was ridiculously hot that day, and they had to, like, the clock ran out, and you're like, thank God the clock ran out and we won. Perfectly honest. That's how we were all walking out of that stadium. The Baltimore comeback was really great because you're down 28 points in the fourth quarter, and I'm just down. And Crypto's there with me, and we're just down. And my buddy Josh is there with me, and Ryan is there with me, and we're just Ryan. My buddy Josh was a big Ravens fan, so he was very happy. But all the other Dolphin fans that were sitting there with me were all just kind of down. We're just depressed. And they come back, they scored one. I was like, all right, hey, that's one. And then they scored the second one. I was like, guys. And then everybody turned around. You, like, simultaneously, Steven, shut up. Do not jinx it. So I start laughing, and I'm shutting my mouth. And then we scored the third touchdown, and I'm turning around, and everybody's like, don't you say it, Steven. I swear to God, if you say it. And I'm like shaking people, and I'm like, let's go. And then we scored that fourth touchdown, and yeah, man, that was so awesome to win that game. So that was really good. But for me, there was a buildup, right? And the buildup was great. But for me, the Miami Miracle, you're down there's 7 seconds left. It was just, it can't, like, I was like, there's no way. My wife is there with me. I'm like, I'm sitting down, I'm pouting, I'm pissed. Just no way. And my wife's like, never say never. It can happen. It's going to happen right here. She said it. Fans are piling out for the most part. People are starting to walk out. Patriot fans are talking all sorts of ish. Yeah, you guys suck. We beat you down here. You guys suck. And then it happened. And the stadium shook. And it was loud. The loudest I can ever remember it being. And people shook and shaked. And Patriot fans were just like me. Like unbelievable. That moment for me, there's nothing better than the Miami Miracle. Greatest moment that I can just, it was just, whew. I get emotional just thinking about it now. The Miami Miracle for me was definitely the best because nothing ever compares to that. But the second right behind it is the Baltimore comeback. Baltimore comeback was really cool. Stephen D, you can't believe that even when we are winning, we still had a significant division in the fan base. Winning for me, like, I wasn't around in the 70s and the 80s and the early 90s. So I don't know what the fan base was in the 70s, 80s, and early 90s. What I know is that we were a decent team and we always put a good product out on the field and we won. So I can't believe there was much division. I think there was disappointment, but not much division. Cesar, we have 0% chance to get Caleb. Tampa Bay is going to go heavy for him, which is probably why they are not going to give a long-term deal to Jimmy Garoppolo. Just want to throw that out there, guys. Thank you. If we win a Super Bowl with Tua, I still think there'll be division, but I have accepted it as the new normal. You win a Super Bowl, I don't want to hear nobody say nothing negative about nothing. We win a Super Bowl. We won a Super Bowl. Shut up. That's exactly my comeback will be for everything. We won a Super Bowl. Shut up. We won a Super Bowl. Shut up. We won a Super Bowl. Shut up. That'll be my comeback to every comment, everything. And there's nothing that you can say. Will you sing the Dolphin fight song while standing on one foot and jumping up and down? Question your fanhood, boo. Whatever. Darth Vader says, hashtag Stephen D. Tua or Caleb, take the Homer hat off. Be honest. Caleb, all day, twice on Sunday. Caleb Williams. Love that kid. Stephen, Caleb is 6'3", 235. Yep, sure is. Getting rid of Tua will fix the fan base. I agree, Stephen. I don't see Carr here in Miami, honestly. Carr wants to start somewhere. If Carr comes here, he will start. Don't get that twisted. Tua will be gone if Carr comes here. But I agree, Carr wants to start. And Carr will go wherever the starting job is. Wrong. Williams is 6'1", 216. I don't know. Don't care. Love Caleb, though. To be 7-10, we will score less per game than this year, and our D gives up more than 400 this season. Texans, who gave up 21 points than the Fins this year. No way, Bip-Bop. We will have a winning record next year. We will make the playoffs. We will win a playoff game, and our defense will be a top 12 defense in the NFL. Top 12. I don't know if I'm ready to quite say top 10, but I think there'll be a top 12 defense in the NFL. And, yeah. As we get going throughout the year, maybe even more. But Vic Fangio is going to change everything over here. It's going to be big. Adam E says, hashtags, when are you going to come to Buffalo and party with the upstate New York Dolphins? I'm not planned on going up to upstate New York. I'd have to think about that one. Also, Archie overrated. A few more years and you'll get the real Manning, GB, and Peyton's kid, Marshall. Stephen D, in order to wait for Peyton Manning's son, Marshall, we're going to be waiting 7 years. He's in the class of 2031. Yo, Pete is about to scratch off a $25 million scratch-off ticket live on his channel. Trying to get people to leave my channel to go watch Pete go do a scratch-off. I love it. I love it. Triple S Podcast, ask Stephen D, Jets sucked that New England won the Super Bowl the same year, and we didn't win another game. I was at the Miami Miracle, too. Yeah, we did. We ended up losing the final 3 games and missing out on the playoffs. It was rough. We ended up getting killed in Minnesota. Delvin Cook ran all over us. Remember that? It sucked. Level 2 noob. I've seen Marshall and Peyton goofing off at Colts practice facility, and the kid has a cannon. He's like 13 or something. Josh will lose his job for getting rid of Carr when he goes to the team and lights it up. Josh McDaniels? Josh McDaniels is a joke. Let's see here. Stephen D, of the quarterbacks we've missed on in the past 20 years, who did you want to pick that we didn't? Man, there's tons of them. I think the one for me, Aaron Rodgers, specifically, remember having the opportunity to pick him and not getting him. I wanted Brady Quinn so bad, and we picked Ted Ginn Jr. I think Aaron Rodgers was still in that draft too. Look, Brady Quinn didn't work out well, but wasn't like Ted Ginn was a major factor for us. Look, Aaron Rodgers I wanted, obviously. Matt Ryan is somebody I wanted. I could never understand why the Dolphins would never trade up and go out and try to find that franchise quarterback in the draft. And when they did, it was Tannehill. And it was like, this guy's only played a quarterback for 2 years. He was a wide receiver, converted wide receiver to quarterback. So would have been my first choice. So I was gung-ho for Tua because it was like, okay, this is a real quarterback. He's a top pick. Let's go. I was all about Tua. I was all about him. And I wasn't about Herbert. I was not about Herbert. And if you ask the fan base, if they're honest with themselves, 90% of the fan base didn't want Herbert either. They're like, no, this guy, he has accuracy, issues, footing issues, like knowing where his feet are. And like, there was all these knocks on Herbert coming out. So most people wanted Tua. Now, Burrow, I think, might have been somebody that if they could have gone out and gotten, they would have done. And rumor has it we tried to. What did we offer? We offered 3 first-round picks to Cincinnati for Burrow, and they didn't get it. Didn't get it. Again, I will say this about Ross, and I'm not a fan of Ross. Ross has tried to get us to be a winning club. He's failed miserably, but he's tried. Failed miserably, but tried. Yeah. But To answer your question, I mean, I think Andrew Luck, Matt Ryan, Aaron Rodgers are probably like the three that stick out. Would have loved all of them. But I don't think we had a shot at Luck. We never had a shot with Luck. I think Matt Ryan might have been a first overall pick too, right? I'm not sure where Matt Ryan. Aaron Rodgers is the only one that I'm like we could have drafted and we didn't. Steven, I know Miami would have to give up a lot for Rodgers, but Rodgers to Hill is what Rodgers had when Rodgers had Adams. And look how great they were, just saying. Don't want to give up the world for Aaron. Don't. You still need somebody to replace Aaron after Aaron leaves. And there's no guarantee that Aaron gets you the Super Bowl. No, Rodgers was the Ronnie Brown draft. Was it? Okay. Thank you, Thomas, for clarifying that. Facts. I didn't want Herbert. Boy, was I wrong. Yeah, look. No, yeah, 100%. Stephen D, do you think Tua will look better playing in the NFC? I bet he outshines Hurts in that division. And I don't even like Tua like that. Still haven't seen the leap one game. Doesn't tell all. Do I think Tua will look better playing in the NFC? I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. Does Tannehill look better playing for Tennessee than he ever did with us? He had a better team. He had a better offense around him up until this past year. But I don't know. I think the team is what's important. It doesn't matter if it's an AFC or NFC team. It's the team that they go to. Steven, that's where I disagree with you. Justin Herbert accuracy issues were caused by lack of talent and receiver at Oregon. If you go back to the draft and you look at Mel Kuypers and all these other people, there was a huge knock on Herbert. And 90% of the people, I'm not saying everybody, and I'm not saying there's certain people in here that didn't say, no, I wanted Herbert. But I'm telling you, 90% of people, I think most people are lying. Not everybody is lying, but most people are. Because most people were hands down, Tua's the guy. We're going with Tua over Herbert. Wasn't even a huge question or thought process. Nobody even really questioned it. Nobody did. Does it suck that Herbert's turned out the way he has? Of course, but I mean, do we know that Herbert would have turned out that way with what happened here? I don't know that. I don't know that. We'd have to see. Burrow would have sucked in Miami. And that's the thing, right? Like, I don't believe that with Burrow, but with Herbert, I don't know if Herbert would have been as good in Miami as he was with the Chargers. You're wrong, Steven. A lot of us wanted Herbert. Even Marino wanted him. If Marino wanted Herbert, why is Stephen Ross not listening to him? If he's up there and they're at everything. Seriously, this franchise has dropped too many balls this century. Who have we even drafted this century that has a remote shot at the Hall of Fame? I mean, my hope is Christian Wilkins, Javon Holland, maybe. But a lot needs to happen between now and then. A lot. Xavier Howard, maybe. His interceptions are up there, I would bet. Go look. I'd be interested to know Xavier Howard's numbers compared to like Hall of Famers. All right. Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show. Clock Blockers right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. I am Stephen D. Got to hang out with y'all this morning on hashtag AskStephenD Thursday. We had a good time today. We talked NASCAR, talked some baseball, basketball. Some crazy questions were thrown in there. It was a lot of fun. If you enjoyed today's show, please donate to the channel. Help the channel grow. Can't grow without your help. If you love the channel and you like the show, donate $1 million. Okay, you don't have $1 million? Okay, $1. Doesn't matter. Donate to the channel. It's a big deal. Make sure you hit the like button. Tomorrow's Friday. As long as Jason does the show with me, I think we'll be doing a show tomorrow. It'll be fun. I'll have my kids with me. They might drop in from here and there time to time, so it'll be good. But I hope you all enjoyed the show today. I know it wasn't a regular Thursday show. We usually have Cameron. Cameron is out and about doing things, so hopefully next Thursday we'll be good to go. Hope you liked everything in today's show. If you didn't, too bad. It's hashtag Ask Stephen D Day. Make sure you share. Let people know that we're here. If you guys want to hit me up on Twitter at Stephen D SKPL, spread kindness, positivity, and love. I'll be sure to get back to you as soon as I can. I love you all. You're all the best fans in the world. Make sure you're kind to your everybody. Stay positive and love everyone. We'll see y'all tomorrow right here on Clock Blockers.
Time to be the people's champ. Hit them with the people's elbows. Stick together like it's Velcro. You think you can stop us? Hell no. All day I dream about sports. I think I need some chateau. Custom with some Dolphins colors. Just to let them know we here. Yeah. I know the whole city riding. A little early, it's a bit surprising. Business moves, now we enterprising. Switch it up, now we improvising. Go to get in the winter collar. Whole squad been trained to go. Vince for life, we throw the foe. Singing this just to welcome bro. Two at a time, two at a time. Time to grind, time to shine. Two at a time, two at a time. Two at a time.